Hello and welcome to Intro to Sociology. Today we're going to be covering what is sociology, how do we understand sociology, and how does this translate to our own lives. Okay, so we're going to look at making the familiar strange, the sociological imagination, cultural scripts, and linguistic landscapes. Cool? So what is sociology? I want you to take a minute to pause this video and jot down as many ideas or descriptive words about sociology. What could sociology mean? Welcome back. Okay, so sociology is the scientific study of human behavior, social groups, and society, the study of human society and social life, and the social causes and consequences of human behavior. Sociology considers a wide range of questions. So let's pause there to think about how and what we mean by this. Sociology is the scientific study. So this differs from personal opinion and individual experiences because we as scientists study the patterns of human society and look at how systems of society and agents of socialization are constructed to influence our realities. It is the study of human society and social life. We look at the causes and consequences of human behavior. So the causes and consequences kind of look at how psychology and sociology and anthropology and history and all of these cousin disciplines influence what we think of as sociology. So how me as an individual is going to react to a particular situation is going to be influenced by my own beliefs and frameworks as well as what society tells me. So let's think of some wide range of questions that sociology can consider. How do groups influence individual human behavior? What are the causes and consequences of a particular system of social order? So next we're going to look at the micro and macro. So here is the time to make sure to get your flashcards out, which is a 3x5 card, so that you are studying the key terms and creating study flashcards for you. Make sure you also get the definition of sociology. So micro is the local intersectional context. Macro sociology is the level of sociological analysis concerned with small-scale units such as individuals and small groups or social interactions. Macro is social dynamics on a higher level, the level of sociological analysis concerned with large-scale structures and processes such as war and unemployment. So an example, on the micro, I might be unemployed, and on the macro, we can look at unemployment rates for Colorado, we can look at unemployment rates for education, unemployment rates for America. So really we see micro as being small, meso, M-E-S-O, as being this middle ground, and then macro as being the really large scale, system-wide or society-wide rather than my own individual experience. Next, we will be looking at making the familiar strange. So what do we mean by this? Making the familiar strange takes into all of these common sense notions that we have about what is sociology and how is it constructed, or how is our society constructed and what do we take for granted. Why would we want to use this? We want to use this because as scientists, we want to start to question things. Why is it that we have a dichotomous relationship of genders in regards to bathrooms, right? So why is it that we have a boys' bathroom and a girls' bathroom? Why is it? Why is it that we go to school? Why is it that we have children and get married? These are all questions that we might take as common sense ideas, but in reality, different societies have different structures, and historically, we always haven't been this way, right? Historically, we haven't always understood the idea of male and female, or we always haven't agreed on this idea of monogamy and marriage. Cool. So let's move to the next. So another key term is the sociological perspective. It's a way at looking at society and social behavior that involves questioning the obvious, seeking patterns and looking beyond the individual in an attempt to discern social processes. So this is really a academic definition of what I just explained. We want to start asking questions, we want to look at patterns, and we want to look beyond the individual to look at social patterns and processes. So next we're going to talk about a social institution, and this is really important because when we talk about society, we're going to start talking about agents of socialization and social institutions on the macro level. So a social institution is a complex group of interdependent positions that together perform a social role and reproduce themselves over time. So pause this video and think about what are some examples of social institutions? What are their roles? How do they influence the way we think about and act within our social and personal worlds? Welcome back. All right, make sure you have these notes for class on Wednesday. But now we're going to look at, or we're going to talk about, what is a social institution, right? A social institution of education, religion, government. So these are large social systems that really orchestrate and influence our daily lives, right? So we can also see the institution of marriage as a socially agreed upon organization or idea that we engage in, right? Because we all understand the definition of marriage. We all understand what it means to be in a marriage, what that looks like, the process of going through it. So what are their roles? What is the role of education? Is it to educate children? Is it to train people to be in certain jobs? What is the role of government? Is it to create social order? Is it to police people? So then we think about how they influence the way we think and act in our social and personal worlds, right? So if we think about government and we think about all of the consequences of laws and rules, right? So it influences my social world because it tells me how to act and behave. So the difference between sociology and common sense, right? Common sense is basically things that we take for granted. So examples of common sense explanations versus sociological explanations, right? So why is it that we have school shootings? Why do we have poverty? Why do we have capital punishment? Why do we have suicide? Why do we have violence? Why do we have all of these things that we want to start to question? Think of a common sense answer and then think of maybe a sociological answer, right? So why do we have school shootings? Is it because individuals have high levels of mental illness and are unstable? Or is it because the system of education is broken and these people feel hopeless? We can think about that, right? So then how does this influence our experiences and our beliefs, right? So if we're taught at a certain age that marriage is incredibly important and that it is important for women to have children and take care of their children at home, this is going to influence our particular beliefs. If I am of a certain religion, we might have that influence my particular beliefs. If I am of a particular political party, that will also influence my own beliefs. And then we think about generalizations and stereotypes. So with generalizations and stereotypes, those go hand in hand with common sense. We utilize generalizations and stereotypes to help us figure out our world because we are taught not to question things, really, right? We're taught not to look at why things occur, why things are happening. Cool? All right, so this is going to be in your discussion. You're going to watch this video and answer these questions. This will also be in your discussion. Make sure that you are following the discussion posts and that you are reading at least 2 other people's posts and commenting on them. Okay, so we are not in class today, but we are going to think about a problem, either public or private, that you think you know, right? Public or private, we can connect this to macro and micro, public, macro, private, micro, and jot down all of these things that you think you know about it. Then the next step is to make the familiar strange. Start to question why these things are. Start to think about other reasons why some of these ideas or some of these social issues are. So then next, the third step is to think about the social institutions and how they influence this problem, or how they influence our way of knowing this problem. Pause this video and take the time to fill this out. Okay, so we are going to have a quiz. This will be under quiz. These are our questions. Make sure that you understand and utilize your notes to answer everything. Cool. So next we will be looking at the sociological imagination. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you at our next video.